What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another episode here, Heartletics. Got my man, Coach Mark, with me, and we're going to be giving you guys lots of value in today's episode. If you guys are tuning in on the podcast, obviously do me a huge favor. Share this on your social media page, maybe Facebook. Spread the word, because what we're going to be talking about today is the best fat loss tips, but specifically for beginners. Mark was a beginner and now he's, obviously progressed so much, which we're going to be diving into. And we really know what it's like when somebody is first starting off their health and fitness journey. And it could be timid at first, right? It could be kind of nervous, could be kind of scared. And so what we want to do is make sure that we give you guys plenty of value in today's episode, where we're not only giving you guys the best tips and tricks on how to succeed on your fat loss journey physically, but most importantly, mentally as well. So with that being said, let's dive right into it. We're going to be talking about the 7 essential fat loss tips for longevity, the fat loss habits for longevity, what they are. And then we're going to go right into Coach Mark as far as way back in the past when he first got started off and how that was like for him. And then we'll kind of go into a little bit more in depth about what made his transformation so successful. Because let's face it, Mark is down over 90 pounds. Is that right?
Absolutely. Yep.
Down over 90 pounds. Living his best life, has more energy. He's out there running 5Ks. That was what the first 5K you did was Father's Day, right?
Yeah, Father's Day. It was awesome.
After our workout in New York. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. We met up in New York. We did the workout. And the next day was a 5K.
Yeah. So Mark, right, this is going to sound a refresher for you, but for anybody that's listening on the podcast or maybe watching this later on the YouTube video, the 7 essential fat loss habits for longevity, guys. This is what Heartletics is. This is what we preach about. We do not believe in cutting out carbs, right? We don't believe in fasting. We don't believe in any of these things that's just a one size fits all, Band-Aid to the gunshot wound solution. Now, is cutting out carbs a tool? For sure. Is fasting a tool? For sure. But what we want to talk about is the fundamentals, because when you master the basics, that's where the longevity comes in. That's where guys are learning how to not only lose, 20 to 50 pounds of body fat in just 90 days in our coaching program, but learning how to keep it off, learning how to maintain the results permanently once and for all. And here are the 7, right? We'll give you guys the cheats right here. Okay. Number 1 is going to be your specific calorie intake for fat loss. Number 2, your macronutrients for fat loss. I'll put it to you like this. We'll make it very simple, right? Macronutrients stands for your proteins, your carbs, and your fats. Okay. Your macronutrients are going to be completely different than, let's say, your neighbor who is a type 2 diabetic, right? Like everybody's going to have different fat loss macronutrients to best aid them in not just performance in the gym, but obviously maximizing their ability to burn body fat. Number 3 is your specific, strength training regimen, whether that's at the gym, whether that's at home, taking everything into consideration, right? Days of the week for training, time frame, past and current injuries. Like what we really want to establish on is the longevity, right? Is really helping somebody establish something that works best for their lifestyle. Number 4 is my favorite, NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Simple things like just going for a walk really aids in burning body fat, and it's very fun to do. Number 5 is going to be the hydration, drinking a good amount of water. 6 is going to be stress management. And 7 is actually going to be your recovery, your sleep. So now that everybody tuning in is listening to that, right, and you guys have a good, clear understanding of the 7 essential fat loss habits to longevity, let's go all the way back to Mark, right? First getting signed up, right? You and Jen just had your discovery call. You're like, hey, cool, sign us up. And you guys did. Tell everybody about, maybe the prep weeks and the first few weeks into phase 1. And then most importantly, like, what do you feel like has helped you the most when you were a beginner, right, on your fat loss journey?
Okay. So first of all, having those prep weeks is, I think, a really key part of our program. By the time you get through those prep weeks, we want to make sure that by the time you hit day 1 of your official start, you're so comfortable with things that you hit the ground running. And I think that was key. By the time day 1 of week 1 came, I was comfortable using the app. I was comfortable understanding my goals. That doesn't mean, day 1, week 1 was easy. It just meant I had a good understanding at that point of what, was expected of me and how to do it. So having that, yeah, absolutely.
Share with everybody, Mark, what exactly is prep weeks? Where this is the time where it works a two-way approach, but I want you to share with it first and I'll kind of follow up afterwards.
Yeah. So prep week is, prep weeks are the time after you get signed up and before your official day one starts. In that period of time, one of the things that happens is you have a call with myself to go over basically, the details of how, like, the technical side of it, how the app works, and that's pretty straightforward. But also, the best tips and tricks for getting started. Understanding your goals, making sure that you really know, what's expected of you to make this work for your particular lifestyle. So that's kind of step one. And then you have a couple of weeks there where you get to sort of implement what we've talked about and make sure any questions you have about that process are kind of out of the way before you get to day one. And they're out of the way because you have access to myself, Coach Joe, all the coaches, you have access to the community group so that you can, have really 24/7 ways of addressing any questions that pop up.
Yeah. I was just gonna say it's also a good thing for, if somebody's listening in, if anybody's gonna try to sell you on a program that's 100% personalized and you're starting day one of that program, like the next day or the next few days, how personalized is it really? So like what we focus on when it comes to, these prep weeks, which is anywhere from like 2 to 4 weeks where somebody is getting used to it, right? Used to the meal plans that Coach Katrina made for them, used to the workouts, obviously having your onboarding call with you, which helps out tremendously with giving everybody just the tools, right, on how to do it, how to succeed early on. Because let's face it, for somebody that's brand new, they might sign up and be a little bit overwhelmed. Well, hey, I never checked my macros before. Hey, how do I follow this meal plan? And I never really worked out before. How do I use this app, right? So like having those weeks of prep really helps out with a two-way approach. One, that individual, that client is 210% ready before they begin day one of coaching. And second, it's giving me, you, Katrina, Brian, all the other coaches, right, data to see, okay, hey, it's been about 2-4 weeks of this individual, tracking their foods, logging their workouts, and we can see all that data. What adjustments can we change to better aid them into speeding up their metabolism before we even get started? So that's what your prep weeks are all about for anybody that's tuning in. Now, let's go into the juice, right? What are some of these tips, man, these tricks, right? Like what has you feel like has helped you progress to where you are today, down over 90 pounds?
So let's take it back to those 7, essentials, and let's kind of pick out some of the top ones there that work for me. I'm going to cheat a little bit and say nutrition as a combination of the macros and the calorie deficit, right? So I think, that's definitely the foundation. And for me, like you mentioned, people who had never, counted their calories before or counted their macros before, I hadn't. That was a new process to me, but I really took to it because I had the training, I had the understanding by the time I started. And, I really took to the idea of pre-planning, which to this day I still hold to, and I think that's really one of my key, tips for new people starting out on a fat loss journey is plan that day, figure out, I always call it food Tetris, figure out what foods slot into your day to hit your goals. And that, that's both in terms of the macros and the calorie deficit. So kind of combining those two there, but,
well, I like that a lot. And I think that's good for anybody. Like, let's give some practical advice for somebody that, let's say, isn't a member, right? So like they're on the fence, they're maybe heard about Heartletics, but nonetheless, they're looking to burn body fat regardless. So what you just heard from Coach Mark was pre-planning, right? So what does that mean? So Mark made things a lot easier for himself and his wife, Jen, for investing into our coaching program because we were able to take out all the guesswork, right? The meal plan, the calories, the macros, everything like that. Now, for somebody else, right, that's on Heartletics, makes things very simple for them as well. But, what Mark likes to do, especially for newer clients, is to just say, hey, listen, we're all kind of creatures of habits here. Why don't we save some of our meals in the app? And this is why I love the Heartletics training app so much, because one, you can save your food logs right there. So now if you're a creature of habit, like most of us are, it's just wake up, click, 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 click. You know what you're going to have. It's a nice, easy way to hold you accountable to sticking with that. And for a fact, hey, you're going to eat the foods that you enjoy eating and you're going to burn the body fat. And the second thing I would say is the new feature, right? The Discover feature on the app, where now if somebody's going out to eat, now they have all these recommendations like Chipotle, Starbucks, all this stuff, as well as all the other recipes that we have inside of our database. Now, for somebody that might be just like, once again, listening in on the sides, I would say for you guys, right? Pick and choose. Okay. You need to figure out what is your calories, what is your macros for, maximizing your fat loss. And then just like Mark said, picking and choosing, like, okay, do these meals add up to be hitting these goals specifically? And then over time, have some fun with it, right? Maybe start adding in some different recipes, adding in some different meals where you're getting the sense of the knowledge and the flexibility. That way you're not eating the same things over and over again,
Yeah, absolutely. For the longest time, like my breakfast was identical because I knew it worked. And now that I'm more comfortable with it, that's still my like backbone go-to breakfast. It's, I know I'm quick, I'm on the go. I grab that, it's my protein cereal. I have it all laid out in the app and I go to it. But, I'm starting to mix and match a little bit more now because I'm a little bit more comfortable with what adds up to the right numbers. And I'm, more comfortable not sticking to that exact plan. And you learn that over time, which is an amazing part of the program. So, so step 2, I'd say, was training. As far as, my next essential tip was this: find something that you like as far as what you're doing for training. Because for me, right, this was all very new to me at the beginning. I was not coming from a place with a strong background in, working out and things like that. So starting out, I had very little to work with. I had a kettlebell and a set of dumbbells. And I started, training, and it was good. I enjoyed it. I was feeling like I was capable of doing a lot more than I ever realized I could do, which was exciting. And I was, developing. But when I switched over to, getting an adjustable bench and some dumbbells and then adding the barbell, I took it to a whole new level. And when I say took it to a whole new level, I don't mean physically. I mean my enjoyment of it. Like it's something in that really clicked with me. And that's when things really just spun to like a new, beginning to form that new 2.0 me. Like I really, really, took to working out as one of the highlights of my day, as opposed to one of the like, oh no, I got to get this through, So
it's such a dramatic change too, it's such a shift, right? I remember in the community group, you posted, you said, man, never in 49 years or something like that, I would never expect to be happy to get off work so I can go work out. And that's when I knew, like, all right, he's changing mentally more than anything.
Yeah, that was a huge day because, we've talked about this before, but I just came from like this limited belief that I was not a physically active person, like in any way. And now I've come to realize it was that I didn't find what I liked. So tip 2 is definitely find what you like, whether it's, kettlebell workouts, dumbbell workouts, body weight workouts, whatever you like that you're going to stick with, that's going to have the best results because you're going to do it because you enjoy it. So that's definitely my second tip.
Let's pause then. So number 1, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but it was figuring out the nutrition side of things, right? And that is planning ahead, right? Yeah. And so for anybody else that's listening also, guys, we make things very simple at Heartletics. And I'm going to give you guys a cheat sheet right here. Okay. Find out your calories for fat loss. Okay. Find out like a good protein. So normally we always recommend like 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight, and stick with that. Don't worry about your carbs. Don't worry about your fats. You can be high fat, low fat, high carb, low carb. It does not matter at all. Trust me. These are the same principles that we're teaching everybody inside of our coaching program right now. Focus on your calories, focus on your protein goal. And then what Mark said, it makes it a lot easier to plan ahead, right? To make sure that for a fact what you're eating, it's in alignment with your fat loss goals, right? With your calories, your macronutrients. And don't think, guys, it requires a lot of meal prep or anything like that. We know plenty of guys that they eat nothing but fast food and stuff from gas stations. These guys are truck drivers. These guys are whatever the case may be, where they're not home. They don't have that luxury. They don't have that time, that flexibility. And if they can lose 40, 50 pounds, I'm sure you can too if you start taking away just a few of these little tips and tricks. Now, the second thing Mark said, which I really agree with a lot, is the training. But specifically, if you heard what he said about the training, was find something that you enjoy doing. Mark always had this self-limiting belief about himself that he wasn't an athlete. He wasn't going to be this, guy of who he is today. And so he had to slowly but surely just start, feeding the good wolf and say, hey, well, my bad wolf is saying like, you can try your hardest. You're never going to look a certain way. But the good wolf is saying, hey, let's just give it a try. Let's just go all in and let's see what happens. And that's what Mark did. He started off with just body weight, dumbbells, kettlebells, progressed, right? And started getting some weights. And, one thing led to another. And sure enough, he destroyed all those self-limiting beliefs, but specifically because he showed up each and every day, right? He was doing something he enjoyed doing. And obviously, if he was doing something he wasn't, he was going to let me and the other coaches know. That's a flexibility of having that 24/7 support from me and the other coaches, is having that guidance, right? Saying like, hey, I don't really like this. Can we switch things up? And it's like, sure, right? We never want to just force anybody to do something. We want to work with somebody on what works best for them. Mark, hit us with that third tip, brother.
So for the third tip, I'm going to go with the NEAT, the non-exercise activity thermogenesis. And I'm going to say specifically walking. For me, I made 10,000 steps a goal that I kind of, said I'm not going to end the day without. It doesn't have to be 10,000 steps. That's just, what I kind of stuck to. But, it's so easy to just get out there and walk. Or, I've been known on bad weather to just walk around the house if I have to. But, on those days where you can get out, it's so helpful, not just physically, and it does help physically. I mean, it really does contribute to, burning that body fat to just get that movement in, but mentally too. I mean, there's just something about getting out there, going for a walk, clearing the head. It does something for you. So, it's like a win-win on both sides of the, personal development spectrum, mentally and physically. So, yeah, I mean, just make that commitment to get, whatever it is, 8,000, 10,000 steps, whatever kind of works for you. And, or, if steps is not, doable for you, maybe it's some, some body weight squats or something, but just to keep moving, through the course of the day, make sure that you're not sedentary, 24/7, like I was before Heartletics,
Yeah.
I was going from couch, from computer desk to couch to computer desk.
Yeah, I would say I agree with you, right? The NEATs is by far one of my favorite tools into burning the body fat and keeping off for good. Anytime I had to get ready for, let's say, a photo shoot or like a tournament or anything like that, where I had to be a certain weight or whatever, I was easily able to maintain that just by walking, right? And so for anybody that's listening on the outside, right, NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. When it comes down to burning calories, you're burning calories at rest, right? It's called your RMR, your resting metabolic rates. You're burning calories through working out, but you're also burning calories through what's called NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Is considered walking exercise? Sure, technically, but think about it. It's going for a walk. It's more therapeutic, like Mark said. You're not huffing and puffing. You're not breaking a sweat. You're not running sprints or cardio even. Like, it's just going for a walk. And it's just like what you said. It's the idea, right, that, hey, we're not made to be so sedentary. A lot of people that struggle with bad backs, right, is because they sit down all day. Their glutes get these knots in it, and that's what strains on their backs. And so, I know plenty of guys that sit in front of a computer all day and they're dead tired, right? Because like they're so focused on this and they're not moving around. They're not training their body nor their mind properly. And just going out for a walk, right? It doesn't have to be within a 10,000 step, like duration in that one sitting. Space it up, right? Like a little bit here and there. I mean, truck drivers easily does the, squats or push-ups, consistency, stuff like that, where it's working with that individual to say, hey, what works best for your lifestyle and what aids you in this fat loss journey. Now, these are great tips, Mark. I mean, obviously the nutrition, the training, the NEAT, these are all great. What would you say also though? Maybe like a little secret, right? That also aided you and Jen, right? So in your 12 weeks, you lost 37 pounds. Jen lost 23 pounds. Obviously you guys have progressed so much since then, but what do you think has been also maybe one of like the secrets, right? The key things to help you on this transformation journey?
So it's got to be having a community. And
Interesting.
you're having that kind of place to turn to for, motivation, for questions, for, hey, I'm having a bad day, like I need someone. And, having that whole team of, guys and girls who are doing exactly what you are, they know what you're going through. And, it's amazing. I remember in the beginning you telling me, the people who participate in the Heartletics community group the most get the most out of the program. And if you don't know, Heartletics includes a community group. It's like its own social media, if you want to call it that, of
It's fire. It's fire.
Yeah. Oh, it's amazing. It's
pure fire.
Such a huge part of the program because, I took right to your advice that you need to get involved, in that to really kind of, cement your progress. And everyone there is so inviting. Like, the minute you post in there, it's like, welcome. We can't wait to see where you're just inundated with love. And and having that, like, hey guys, like, I'm just not myself today, and suddenly getting like, all these responses of like, ways to counteract that and support, it totally just makes your day. It totally turns everything around.
I was going to say, that's the best part, in my opinion, the community group, right? Because as a coach, right, there's plenty of days where I don't feel like working out, right? I'm only human, right? There's plenty of days where I feel like just sleeping all day, right? But like I always say, successful people do what they have to do, whether they feel like it or not. And when I turn on my phone in the mornings, like, and I see like, hey, this person crushed this workout, hit all these PRs, this person did this person did this. It just, amplifies me. Like Coach Jim and then Jeremy Wade, right? They're always posting stuff in the morning. So I get to see that. That's like my pre-workout fuel. It hypes me up, right? Even as a coach, like I love seeing that stuff. But what you said specifically about like when somebody has a bad day, I love those posts the most because, like, let's face it, guys, girls listening in, whatever. When times are good, it's easy. Let's face the facts there, right? Like when life's good, there's no stress, there's no drama, like you're in alignment, like everything's good. Life's easy, right? It's always easy to do something when life is easy, right? Very easy to be consistent with it. But now let's face the facts. That's not life, right? Life is hard. Life throws curveballs. Life is going to put you in the ringer, right? Especially if you're on the path to becoming the best version of yourself, which means that you're going to be stepping outside your comfort zone. But seeing these posts from these guys, like, guys, I had a rough day today at work, or, hey, I'm dealing with some other issues. Like, I just need some support. And then you see flooded like 50, 60 messages with just, once again, the love, the support, the encouragement, helping that individual. That's what it boils down to. I always say it like this, like these fat loss tools here, Mark, like these 7 habits, they're very easy. Anybody can do them. Right. But I think the biggest issue why people don't seem to do things on their own is because they don't have any accountability. They don't have any support. They don't have that sense of community where there's other people helping them in their corner. And I think that's the biggest reason why our members are so successful is because they have that support. They have that community. They're not struggling at doing this on their own. And they understand that, hey, they can easily send over a message, right? Like, guys, I need help. Or, hey, guys, I have questions about this, right? What do we always say also, right? The members that engage the most inside the community groups get the best results. The ones that are constantly communicating with me, you, as well as the other coaches always get the best results, What else about the community, man, or accountability that you would like to, say here as we wrap things up?
Yeah, I mean, you always say, that you rise to the level of the people that you're kind of in a group with. So having in that community of people who are challenging themselves, growing, developing, it really helps, as far as your own personal path to be, surrounded with people like that. And then, obviously, the community group is great, but you've also got, the team, not to pat ourselves on the back too much, but you've got coaches there 24/7, can reach out to with questions, changes, concern, whatever it is, from hey, how do I do this exercise, to hey, I'm going to X restaurant and what's the best thing to get there. Just having that 24/7 access, knowing that there's someone in your corner, that you're not that guy alone on the island. It makes a difference.
For sure.
Just just knowing that it's there makes that difference, because like, if you do come into a problem, you're not alone. You've got someone to turn to.
Yeah, I also like what you said here to just tag off that. You mentioned about like almost kind of shifting your identity, right? You're around all these other individuals that are like-minded, right? They're on the same path to greatness, just like yourself. And that's one of the key things. We always say it like this, like, you cannot change your outer appearance unless you change your inner appearance first, right? You have to change the mindset shift. And it's really encouraging to see other guys no different from you having success, because if they can do it, what's stopping you? And so like engaging with the community group, it really helps you shift that identity, right? Into, okay, hey, these guys are no different from me. If they can do it, I can do it too. And you start building up those confidence points, right? And that starts feeding that good wolf more and more and more to help aid you on this journey.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a huge component to my success, just being part of that community.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love these tips, man. I think like anybody that's listening, they would definitely get some value from it. I mean, we made it simple, right? Focus on your calories, focus on your protein. Obviously plan ahead, make things easier for you. The second was the training. And most importantly, do something that you enjoy doing. Every time somebody applies for coaching, they always say, well, are you going to make me do burpees? And I'm like, I would not make you do anything that I don't do. So like, I don't do burpees. Why would I make somebody else do it? But it's all about like, hey, most guys that we coach are in their 40s, their 50s, their 60s. We want to look for sustainability. So if somebody's 55, we want to teach them how to, sustain that at 65, 10 years in the future, so I don't imagine a 65-year-old doing burpees unless they're just like, whatever, somebody completely just a freak of nature. But other than that, it's hard to see. But more of the story is do something that you enjoy doing that you can be consistent with when it comes to training. And then lastly, the NEAT, right? The non-exercise activity thermogenesis. You make it a non-negotiable, Mark, to, focus on your daily steps, right? Of 10,000. I think that's great, man. I do the same. And if anybody else out there can start incorporating just those 3 tips that Mark shared with us, I promise you, you are going to be way better off on your health and fitness, path and journey than where you are today. I think the moral of the story is find people in your corner that's there to support you, there to hold you accountable, and there to just say like, hey, keep going, right? As long as you don't give up, you're going to have success. I think like people get so fixated when they hit this small little plateau or this bump in the road where they think they need to make all this dramatic changes. Like, oh, nope, it didn't work for me. I guess I need to cut out my carbs or fast or switch up my whole workout routine. When like in actuality, it's just your body's metabolism just shifting and adapting. We just got to continue to push through. And when you have people in your corner supporting you on that, it just makes it a lot easier. It's not that, second guessing everything. That you have people supporting you, taking all the guesswork out,
100%. Yeah.
Mark, do you want to say anything before we do the outro?
Just that, if you guys are looking for that level of support, Heartletics.com, sign up. It is still to this day the biggest influence, change, positive direction in my life outside of my family. I say that every time someone asks me about it. Obviously family first always, but outside of that, Heartletics is the second best thing that ever happened to me. So join us.
Yeah, and we also got a free fat loss guide too at Heartletics. So if anybody's like still on the fence, so curious about maybe how these 7 essential fat loss habits work specifically, they can always download that and check it out. But no, Mark, I appreciate your time today. Appreciate you tuning in. Hope you had fun. I hope everybody out there listening in to either the podcast or, watching this later on the YouTube channel, share with a friend, share with a family member, and just help inspire others, knowing that it doesn't have to be hard. That's the moral of the story. As long as you continue to keep on pushing through and don't stop, you're going to eventually reach your goals soon enough. Other than that, I really hope you guys got some value. This has been Coach Joe. This has been Coach Mark with Heartletics.com. And with that being said, we'll talk to you guys in the next episode. Peace out, Girl Scout.
Be good.